Welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever part of the world you are. Thanks for joining us in today's webinar. Build your next application in weeks and not months. My name is Anand. I'm responsible for marketing at People10 and I'm excited to be your moderator today. In the panel today are Rakesh, who is the co-founder and CEO of People10. We have Nisha, she is the Chief Operating Officer and co-founder. And then Pauline, she is the Delivery Manager. They will be taking your questions and replying to you as and when you have any questions. This webinar will become extremely handy for people thinking of considering Groovy adoption. We actually want you to make the most out of this webinar, so please stay towards the end and make use of the question and answer session. And you can also ask us questions in between the webinar using the questions pane, and we'll answer to you whenever we can. Just to inform you, today's webinar is being recorded and it will be sent to you in the next 2 days. So if you have any difficulty in viewing the webinar in between, don't worry, we'll send you the recording. Another notification is that we have a white paper which is coming your way on Groovy adoption. So we have a very diverse audience today. We have audience joining from multiple parts of the world, so you are only in listen-only mode. But we'll be taking questions to make this as interactive as possible. The control panel is really easy to use. Use the questions pane to type in your questions. You can also connect with us on Twitter, hashtag P10 Groovy and Grails. I repeat it, P10 Groovy and Grails. I'm really excited to be announcing the speaker today. Ajeesh is a senior architect, has over 12 years experience in investment banking and retail banking domain. He's an avid open source lover. He has conducted numerous audits and assessments on architecture, scalability and performance. Ajeesh has conceptualized, designed and developed many banking applications, including mutual funds and retail banking. He's an agile enthusiast. He does software development using continuous delivery and XP practices. His passion involves programming, continuous integration, property graph databases, and polyglot persistence. You can follow his tweets at GHPU. There's one more announcement. If you actually stay towards the end of the webinar, 5 of you are eligible for a free 1-hour investing session on Groovy adoption for your company with Ajeesh. And we will actually make the choices randomly. So please stay towards the end of the webinar. That brings me towards the end of the introduction part. I'm handing over the mic to Ajeesh. Over to you, Ajeesh. We are excited to have you today.
Thanks, Anand. Welcome, everyone. I'm really excited to be speaking about Groovy and Grails today. We really have a diverse set of audience. We have architects, programmers, C-suite executives, product managers, delivery heads. So it's a very diverse audience. Some part of the webinar may be interesting for you, but for some people, it might seem very slow. So for people who represent enterprises, this webinar will cover why you should consider Groovy and Grails for your rapid application development needs, including how you can improve developer productivity for improved business value. For those of you who are from software product companies and services consulting firms, you can gain from how you can deliver faster and consider Groovy and Grails as a development framework of your choice. With that, gain faster go-to-market and stay competitive. Now there is something for everyone here in the crowd, so stay tuned towards the end. So this is kind of like a summary of what we will be doing for the next 45 minutes. We have a part wherein we will see how the principles of Groovy and Grails are going to help you with your regular delivery to speed it up, to have reduced time to market, and so on and so forth. And we just take a microscopic view on, do we really have to change a lot? Do we really have to change a lot inside our IT to really get going on Groovy and Grails? And if at all change is small, then what are these specific changes that we would have to really take in to adopt Groovy and Grails? In some of the cases that we are actually going to take out and examine as to the starting points of Groovy and Grails inside your enterprise, some qualifying cases which might be the best fits. So that's about it. That's what we're going to cover in the next 45 minutes. Okay, this is just a graph for you which actually takes a look at the programming language evolutions over the years. As you see, from 2005 onwards, there's a surge in productivity-based frameworks like Ruby on Rails, Blake, Groovy and Grails, and so on and so forth. We also see that the application size and the complexity is also the application size and the complexity has increased over the years, and the need for productivity-based frameworks, which actually delve out more features, have come in for good. This is just a pointer to really see how it has all gone over the years. Let's try and understand Groovy and Grails. So rather than going on a verbal rant saying that Groovy and Grails does this, Groovy and Grails does that, what we thought was we'll just put together something so that you guys could see it in action. So here's a video which will explain as to how does it all happen in Groovy and Grails. So for this I've used an Ubuntu machine where I had Grails installed. Ubuntu gives out installation via apt for Grails also. You can find the PPA back there on the Grails site. Now here I'll close the video. Now here I'm trying to create a Grails application from the Grails provided command line interface. So that's the command creating that application. We've created an application called Demo1 right now. And we're going to create a domain class here. I'm going to use a command line interface to really create that. So that's a creating class which got created. Open up that class to really put an attribute. Yep. And that's it. I'm going to give it a name. And I'm going to generate everything for the domain class creating. I'm going to generate the views, etc. right now. So as you see, the number of lines of code that we've really written here, just string name, that's it. That's a single line of code that we've written. Now we're probably just under a minute right now. I'm just launching servlet container, which is Tomcat, on 8081 port. There you go, it's running on 8081. Now would you really believe that we have really created an application which is connected to the database and which is running on port 8081, which has not a very slick UI, but a main code UI. Look at that. You can actually do record creation. It's actually going to the DB sitting there. We have edit and deletes for each of them. As you can see, with each creation, we have those buttons coming up. Now I'm going to create a few more records so that I will be able to show you all possibilities that Grails offers in this just 1 minute. The first time I sort of saw this, it just blew me away. What really interests you is the absolute lack of ceremony in really creating one web application. I'm going to just adjust the screens to really show you the records that I've created right now. We've created around 12 records here. So if you see, the pagination links are also created here. Now, clicking on these links, there's a server call, and you get the records which are from 10 to 12, etc. Even the sorting is enabled on these tables. Look at the edit option, which is you're already able to edit those records. Then you're also able to delete each records. And all this has happened in 1 minute. Now, can you spend that 1 minute in really thinking about this application, which is actually hooked to a real-time database over Hibernate? And if you want to put it on, it's on HSQL right now. If you want to put it on MySQL, we all know it's just a change of the Hibernate dialects. That's it, a full sort of enterprise-ready application under a minute. If this got your interest, then I think we are on for the webinar. Rather than going around and saying, okay, these are the elements on which Groovy and Grails really manages to do all these, I would rather focus on how these principles enable the business drivers and the IT drivers in form of faster time to market, reduced total cost of ownership, and agree that it is fast, but does it really scale? Or if I have to adopt it, do I have to really change a lot of things inside my IT? Or I have a lot of things which are already working good for me, so I'll have to chuck that all away. So a lot of questions that might just come up before you adopt or you want to move to a new technology. You really want to make sure that, okay, this is not going to break when I stress it. Now, what exactly is Groovy? So we've heard the buzz, we've seen it in action, and what exactly is Groovy and Grails? Now, Groovy is a dynamic language for the JVM. Now, when I say dynamic, we can alter the runtime behaviors of these classes and types due to something called as a meta-object protocol. We might just get into that a little bit later. But Groovy was designed with Java in mind, and it was built on the Java 5 grammar. So it almost is like a lookalike of Java. It has other things like closures, and it doesn't have support for init classes and stuff. Yeah. That's like a dynamic language for a particular platform, which is the JVM. Now, what exactly is Grails? You just saw it in action. The first time I saw it, I was really, enthused. It just was revelation to me. Now, bird's eye view of Grails, we would rather call it Groovy plus Spring plus Hibernate, and it's a web application development framework. So that's how I would say, that's how I would like to define Rails at the moment. Now, agreed all this, but how does it really matter to us? How does it bring in, how does it reduce my time to market? Now, we talked about, you would agree with me that whatever was shown before was quite fast. It did not really have any sense of coding, and whatever you thought about was just the business side of it. Maybe the business side was just giving the greeting the name. And that's all I thought about. I did not really have to think about, okay, my database configurations should go into my config files, and I should be choosing 3 environments for testing or 1 environment for dev. I should be putting my configuration files here, my controllers here. I should package my images, and so on and so forth. So essentially what it just gave you was that freedom to really think about the business logic. And many times, there are several times that you've actually felt, or your business user would have come up to you and actually said, can you just do this in like a week or 2? I would really earn some money out of this. Now, the fastest that people could really think about was in a month's time. Now, the possibility that is in front of you, it's talking in days, it's talking in weeks to you. Because what we saw before was just something which is connected to a real DB with persistence, as in with normal object persistence in the model, with Hibernate involved, with Spring involved, with controllers, and with the proper UI which is built standard out of something like prototype and